This is Kessben 93.3 FM, a new wave of excellence in radio.
And then, sorry, and I call you free hand. I said, Vini Junior, say, you didn't want to.
Oh, you know, I think
you didn't watch it.
Nipa no na be compete no. Omo nyina o mate ahwe. Won say it was before it was Mbappé. Mbappé was all over the place.
Yeah.
Now getting to the latter part of the Champions League, the two games against Dortmund at the Signal Iduna and the Parc des Princes, now more Mbappé. And I'll cut off. Now the European Championship, no be himself Mbappé the very redeeming image. He came to the championship and you know he struggled throughout. Injuries and some one Mbappé in the European Championship. And as Spain is sure more free. So clearly Mbappé out. In as much as he was the top scorer in the Champions League, he won the French League 1. He was the top scorer in the French League 1. You know, Mbappé cut off. Now Jude is the next person to compete with Vini. Jude is the best player in the Spanish La Liga. Trophy be Vini G be Jude GB. But a name you know a man Vini Jude a free the race in him was the Supercopa final where Vini Jr. scored a hat-trick against Barcelona in the El Clasico. Clasico no both home and away in the Spanish La Liga. Jude say enemy nuna. But that was a final of a competition and a Vini ball hat-trick. Jude, any the best player in the Spanish La Liga, deserved. Who check the performance or done the dual La Liga man no deserve. Again in the Champions League. In the group stage of the Champions League, it was Vini and then Jude Nerani shown in the group stage. Obian Konko had the game against Napoli at the Diego Armando Maradona. Jude J ball from center. And the ball no rapo. But it drew the business end of the Champions League. Baby, I saw no frame. Who share the big boys, no? Na Jude Ira. Let me put it in that way. Against Manchester City, against Bayern Munich, and in as much as he assisted in the game against Dortmund in the final, Vini scored the second goal. And that game against Bayern Munich at the Santiago Bernabeu was an iconic performance from Vini Jr. I'll be a money Remfi. Until you can the Lionel Messi, Manchester United at the Wembley, Lionel Messi, Manchester United at the Stadium Olimpico, Neymar Jr. versus Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena versus PSG at the Nou Camp, Cristiano Ronaldo versus Juventus at the J Arena. Then you talk about Vini Jr. performance against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. And your game will be a Bekai. And that will be any so. And you know, that was the spotlight in that game. Into a honeymoon Vini Yino, and Sababe Shea go in the final, and he was nominated as the best player in the Champions League. Now we are Jude and then Vini. You talk about their performance in the international competition. Okay. Jude are lucky. England buy to the final, but individually, in as much as he was so crucial to their qualification to sub finals, no could do in the final he was missing. When Timia showed the best players, a show at the final of the competition. And now Jude Bellingham and Timia party. Then in came Rodri. You know, Rodri saw memoir until Euros. And the Koba said, what trophies with Manchester City, UEFA Nations League, FIFA Club World Cup, EPL, but he wasn't the best player in the Manchester City. It was Phil Foden. He played in the final, but not 20 million, you know. Now, Omukoma Rodri, the best player of the European competition. You bet me I raise concerns about being nominated as the best. In the final, Opera or first half, Emma game in the second half, you know, when Timmy but eventually, Omuyina as the best player. Inti the Rodri agenda and also be moi, Emma Louis de la Fonte say, Omonfa the best player in the world, name Rodri. But you know, Vini more performance on the field of play, no, or the total Rodri Moody out seems a mua. I'm not saying he's not good, he's good. But performance within the season individually. So when you need a park and so on, be a performance in you be a debano. You know, and don't know Vini Conanim. And the sun started season, Real Madrid Enyan is smooth today, but you know, Vini is still performing. Rodri MSC the first 3 games, and actually, Waba, you better talk about the injury, no, but you know, The last game at Real Madrid boy against Espanyol, Real Madrid were down by a goal to nil in the 55th minute. Vini entered the pitch and he changed everything. That is a mark of a top-notch quality. That is the mark of a player who deserves to win the Ballon d'Or. And for me, within the season, if you are picking those individuals one-on-one, the closest for me will be Jude Bellingham and Vini. Of the two, Vini actually said it drew crucial moment, Jude. And Vini for me deserve the best player in the game.
We had a performance, Oka said clearly. On the lady, say, nani age 24 or age is on the side. And who say over to me the next year or two. So they can bit me and maintain the no Sanji at was me no and performance.
What? It is difficult to predict the Brazilian players these days. Open $1 billion a week above from Saudi. He will forget about his football career and think about money.
O say a count is Vini. Yes, Madrid no war. You say be ya need na so be ba. Na even performance ya odiko ya. The next 2-3 years.
You know, still it will be difficult for me to predict because of the Omoye Mbappé or Madrid. You know, Mbappé is struggling in Madrid unless you know what the Madrid games.
Okay.
But they find a way for him to score. Gebia. Penalties a Vini nebo.
Okay.
And then Mbappé nebo. Now the first game against Mallorca, Vini kobo penalty. A former Real Madrid player, legend, Guti, Daddy, was set Mbappé nebo. Now the next game, what she game ni bibia who say, o mom manage sa neba no dressing room. Enti se Vini ba penalty for Froba also the man Mbappé. And that has been consistent within the Madrid team. The last game on my boy, Hendrick being a penalty or the Mbappé boy. One of the games, Real Madrid in a penalty, Vini the Mbappé boy. Me can in a baby say, you know, and the game, goals here very, very important to game him. And to Drew baby, I will talk about numbers. And to Drew numbers and Obian Mbappé, how fame the PR that he has. And to Drew baby, can now perform one, you know, and then Mbappé by and almost gradually in as much as a friend of Jude Ebano. There will be a reduction in terms of goals. Fedi Vavadi Jude at the Beba. Into Drew baby, goals ni be key. And for me, you know, when the goal become key, Mbappé baby and now on Drew so the Ballon d'Or, you have people rooting for him. Until you already had the media and the hype around him already. Into a Sabana, you know, Messiah consistent in terms of goal scoring now. It drew you know, Mbappé will move ahead than Vini Jr. It is the reason why I cannot predict that Vini Ebekoso already, but se born there, you know, you can bet me say Vini is all over the place and bet me as a tier of the piece. After the next 3 years, I should say is the best in the game.
Naro.
General, this is 2024 Ballon d'Or. Now, you might hear from TRC BM say for the third time in the history of the awards, omunya the calendar year BM, the near you know, be from January to December. No, this year, the season. And as a trend say and painful chum say this award now from August 2023 to 31st July 2024. 31st July 2024. As a trend say Bobby I born this season piano technically and can't a Ballon d'Or no.
And to me influence you'll be voting.
And until I'm using the term technically. And can't but a Brenner will cut to a ban.
Yeah.
Yes, she free break will copy Miss Abri, but Brenner will cut to a ban. We any pano. You'll be in a sad time. A be influencer.
Sure.
As you speak, the voting has already been done. The awards will be on the 28th of October.
Yeah.
And I agree with Andy said the power ranking in the Ballon d'Or winning along the season are switching along the line. It was Kylian Mbappé. At a point in time, it looks like it was Jude Bellingham. And the Nea say at a point in time, the Rodri agenda came in very strongly, especially after the Euro Championship. And I would kasa obeka Urai Freno Vini Jr. The one interesting thing is that all these four Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappé, Rodri, and Vini Jr. Only Rodri and a good continental tournament. Club football, you can talk about all of them. But a ban will say continental. Vini Kobo Copa America went to me and more. Jude Bellingham, and in England, it drew final of the Euro Championship. But the contribution as individual was far below expectation. Or was below expectation.
Okay.
Kylian Mbappé, same. On also so Euro no one to me and more. Amongst the four crowd, my dream say at the continental level probably was the West. Then Rodri for me was the best player when it comes to contribution to national team football in terms of the championship of Copa America Euro Championship. But hey, I battle and Tidru baby more fans no ya na ehu hia de mi bisa me ho kakra ne say Vini ne antics ne neema controversies surrounding him no enye captains ni bi anyi emom nkotu ntia no because the nim ne say Ballon d'Or no national team captains, the coaches, the journalists and the technical study group from FIFA and to sabawi uti anye ya omodi money nyina echi na ubi bintu hu yobi anyi Europeans in the dorsal and utie Vini nsem na as any desire to fight against racism no uti anye ye na konya a captain bia oye racial but eshenimu emrane adintin wontumi nyimpie ono ko age ni pipa Roberto Etial but the car park no so no ball no mo bosisi amadwe me say amongst the four it should be Vini Jr. for what he has done over the period.
Okay, yeah, more can a friend saying players are almost back closer.
Yeah.
Omunina say Real Madrid.
Oh, the
does
four,
it mean
with,
Madrid,
with the exception of Rodri. Maybe the Rodri I come on back closer.
The Madrid bed dominating next 3-4 seasons.
General.
And as a we bet must bring every baby.
On project, you know, it is so clear. Say the Galacticos era no money be. Now this time around, no say no musi build the Galacticos no. Probably apart from Mbappé, our established World Cup winner no. Omunyina omo fifa omo ebro omo yankwada. Jude came around the age of 20. Vini came around 18 years. Rodrigo around the same years. What I say? But yes, Adeba ko be disadvantage they ran the cano. In the era of Cristiano Ronaldo, everything was geared towards CR7. The almighty Benzema munyina, Garibay munyina no should play to suit Cristiano.
Yeah.
But this time around, it doesn't look like that. Intiesana, honors and glory are shared amongst these big stars. It is a content krobi kopie free team bimwa. Ariana koyasem.
Yeah.
Anti dominance and you see ya Kenya ya ka hurricane or because ono nananka ye elite striker and paying for no no ye contender. But along the line so nema conform. Ya kaja Ellen Haaland and so on. For all he has also done, probably because of national team football.
Okay.
And also national team football, M1. But the Haaland, say, oh, show more in future, him so be dominate here. Probably he should be considered. Unfortunately for him, the PR around him is not good. They by one match away, you know, all the discussion is why she go out in But Mbappé and Munyina boy in West games, but nobody talks about it. And I agree, say, omu na ebe reni, but omu anya careful, they be quite how omu be spread the glories around them. Madrid ye be biasa ntawatawa momentum. Also, omu raise Vini Jr. aketuya, akodru baby Mbappé jeno. Omu raise Jude. Omu mi enu nyina omu peja omu so omu do omu ba betu baby Mbappé wono because omu mpese ahoya abeba omu. In terms of the same level, and if you look at the amount of money they have added to these boys just to bring them at par with Mbappé, it's just amazing. Madrid will have to continue and have to be cautiously making sure say the beer the moment in Tawan best strike, you know, a problem.
Can the world best player ever come from Man City?
$1 billion question.
You know, I said Manchester City will win the Champions League this year.
Yeah.
Erling Haaland will win the best player.
Who's that?
Yes. Some win. Also, only problem no. Only problem no. Yeah. Big games in the Champions League. Any problem. Against Inter, he touched 14 balls. Big game we have to be here. And all these players had iconic moments. It is not Champions League night, no. Due to ball group stage in the power, me so I'm going Napoli or the ball from center to pole. By a drew Bayer, a drew Man City, a drew Dortmund, Jude was nowhere to be found. And only Crawford. And those are the games. Into where Haaland was show be a Man City has 13 goals in the Premier League. Was 10. You know, was 10. Out of the 96 goals scored in the Premier League last season for Manchester City, was 27. Into Manchester City team no ankasa you know, in as much as Pep a team they function or the pivot in midfield, Haaland had been a consistent figure.
My Musa a question.
Okay.
So Haaland a ball Barcelona, born now Obono City now. Or yes, I or La Liga no Barca and I say Madrid. Enka Nidi and Mabon team be brave. Chelsea or Sheman City. Andy.
So I doubt. Do you know why? I still doubt because of the American.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to me say Ballon d'Or no, between the two teams. Barca or 12, Real Madrid or 13. But you know, games need the obo. But those players now are born mudin se omon kwageno. Because Barca go for Barca there. Yen can some kwaje Ballon d'Or and I'm for all these years. In go for Barcelona team.
No, but no
more the Haaland. Omo Barca sisiano. Omo ye de ele.
Because you both Vini Junior, no, but Omo back close, but Mbappé, Rodri, we. And I'm saying Haaland, a bomb Madrid. The whole yes is here, he was City. And all year Madrid and Barca, it was La Liga. Second, everybody can more contenders now.
Of course.
Yes.
Several contenders.
Yes.
You know he was a contender.
No, but
oh, man, more contenders.
Yes.
Maybe
you're selling tea and one for Nankam.
Oh, for that one I agree.
Yes.
Oh, for that one I agree.
You see, General, season
yeah.
This season there's not much national team tournament.
Yeah.
Until a year will be to me IBB.
Okay.
Tournament. Me can qualifiers. Also, when there is a tournament, normally no way no be wrong could be crowd. Until a mumusano, or more national team when you're strong. Ye need international tournaments. Our tournament no a decide be brino. Such year yana ye boa. So we be a bit to my farmer. But ye bo World Cup, ye bo Euros. Oh my dia say ye no. Because that tournament, far about 40 to 50% of me feel say they say Modric, AJ Ballon d'Or because of the World Cup. Not club level, Ronaldo Mabuno from year to say year no Euro Championship, no World Cup. If Man City, a year there, a Champions League especially, and then in the Premier League now, you'll be a very strong contender.
I believe Guardiola and Sokahuna, in as much as Erling Haaland is scoring, Obiang kind of what Haaland was doing at Red Bull Salzburg and Borussia Dortmund. He makes plays. Sejo a bad game no more. There are a couple of goals at Erling Haaland free a train or chichi. But Oba Man City now quite say be only the only now man form possible no. In as much as say he's scoring, Sejo I think say Guardiola and Sokahuna M1 my Haaland e game no more.
Okay. The one to
like me patch say he was making play. He was making play because now Erling Haaland will be our kind of Borussia Dortmund and Red Bull Salzburg. Send you now amount for treat or no so no yebi. But Man City now no I say there are
lots of playmakers behind him. City, a lot of playmakers.
Boss Abono Dortmund.
Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, all these guys Dokujina Wachi, Savino, Nkrofu drop about Wachi about
you said he had same players around him at Dortmund.
Quality, the same standard of players.
No, same playmakers around him at Dortmund. But yes. They know say. No, say it was Dortmund standard na yeka. They know because Marco Reus, Julian Brandt.
But Pep wants somebody to hold the defenders.
No, me baby I want to say Manchester City hono Okobo Sabona he will not be
scoring.
No, he will not be. Man City born chance ya opponent and a half. Into ntimi drop. So what you see? Into hono so
football no boy. Yeah, when it more playmaking. You see, on playmaking.
Mama, just hold the
Concentrate
defenders.
and score goals. At
Now,
the
what I want
point
to
in
say-
time, they turned Cristiano Ronaldo into a goal machine.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, you can't say and to train his skills.
Oh, Mirikapa.
No, but they turned him into a goal machine, and that is what Pep Guardiola wants from Erling Haaland.
Exactly.
And it is what it is.
So Joe, what's how the Madonna called the weight of La Liga so far?
Sure.
What the Madonna called the weight of La Liga so far?
2 clubs.
The weight of La Liga.
The weight of Barcelona.
Barca Madrid.
The weight of Barcelona and Madrid. No La Liga.
2 clubs.
And then you want more La Liga.
No, our Griezmann ball, our ball waiting. Who say the Pape brain himself Mbappé perform for France national team take Griezmann.
The weight of Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Barca 2 clubs. Yeah, 2 clubs no.
Omodu.
Too strong, too powerful.
Question now Busa hugely legitimate. Seka Haaland adwuma wo ye wa hai.
Yeah.
Enkoka squad we say ho wa ha.
Yeah.
Ekenti na Jude
Oh, bongo for on challenge Vini Junior move for Haaland ka. Oh, because only grow. Omo Barcelona ni Madrid.
ke boni dia frada da. Na Jude so ba enche. Jude Real Spain enche o. Na Ballon d'Or boni top 2, top 3 boni di
Yeah.
mu. Legitimate question pa na Busa.
Baby free Nisaka. Who's the best player in the Bundesliga at the top 20? Now in England ni. Now about Real Madrid. That's how the best player in the La Liga.
In your first season.
Obi and Jimmy resisting.
Oya Juma.
A 20-year-old boy, English boy.
Oya Juma.
First of all, remember Cambro for no.
Oya Juma.
Oh,
Oya Juma.
why
But Naro, how many times? Yeah, seen you see who Bundesliga no. It was so sad. Even though teams were hot man, huge. But yeah, you see the situation Bundesliga no.
Yeah.
And I'm a Hurricane craft free
Yeah, man,
argument.
attention is out.
And I'm a Hurricane I could
Yes.
free argument in no.
Yes.
I would say until last season,
Yeah,
competition
Bundesliga big game B.
Setim ba konkwa jebosu sa
Yeah.
fe dey no be attention say there needs to be more. Madrid, yes, I was 11 years continuous. By minute, sorry. Some 11 years. Which is
And almost competitors, no, a back closer, they go there and sign their players. You know what I say?
It is how
Say
the
team
man
beat
dey
me.
normal.
I think we crack a to come for Jonathan Tah. This time Unkwana man for Florent Vase because of Chema Muzela. And then Omokofa Magé Rolize and then we have Flores and Sergin Abri over there.
Okay.
Inti Omo Bundesliga and you can have Wolfsburg, Schalke 04 by 04 Leverkusen. You know, Europe crowd omo chance how many of them. Dortmund omo players here omo ba beton. E di ama Europe so obi am hwebi no obi am fa. Inti eno na ama Hurricane because you know how can players omo perform or Champions League di ma. Hurricane kan ba ono nso edru ba bi obi ehwe no. You know games ni bi wo ha edru ba bi obi ahwe bi.
No disappointed.
E hono no ni ho. Se woni ho a wo bebre. And for me that has been the problem of Erling Haaland.
Didn't na mompe Bundesliga.
Yempe.
Yes, more mano. More mano. Yes, attention now o deserve no. Leverkusen ne mo ye nyina. So ne Bayern e bo. Na some middle table teams be e bo premiership am ko no.
But General,
Is it not true?
okay say Sameko
Yes.
4 time ko mo ho no.
Yeah,
follow
Liverpool,
Bundesliga.
yeah, Man U, and yeah,
Sergio,
middle table teams be ball. Yeah,
generations.
yeah.
Early 90s, send a Bundesliga.
Oh, na ko form the attention
and
Not time ko etwe.
and then I saw a change here from the last 2 decades, early 2000s, say by Spain, England, and Ajiaboso.
Okay.
But early 90s in the na Bundesliga was making a lot of.
Is that who Ghanaian
Yeah,
players
can
crowd?
Nassim. Yeah, can Nassim.
No, no, American generation.
You see, your generation, apart from generation, availability to account. English, no, strategically.
Yeah.
Gumuma, games, no, very cheap. Emma, Africa, Asia. And Crawford cry we mine.
Okay.
Interfere, union free, sa na ye debia. Na afede.
The one year Terry Crown.
The one year Terry Crown. I tell Crawford ya di. Ono person watch na we ya.
Yeah.
Assassin no the be more free.
Yes.
Fufu we call no abeto ama.
Yeah.
Na wa.
Three one number.
Etri wonum wi a. Okwa ko wi sika na abeto.
Yes.
Enti English no smartly Spain for nso sa. Edwa Bundesliga kroma na na hwe uninya edin. For some long period, it was difficult to access the Bundesliga. So ubinya hwe until Nancy and streaming near the everybody. Enti Premier League na 3 enum. And La Liga no so 3 enum. Enti most people in this country Obeshep Bundesliga team pa na in the Champions League.
Again, let's not forget the number of African players who move to the EPL.
And an American.
You know,
And an American.
Sameko for Bayern Munich. We now heard about Penn who's a Bayern Munich and everyone
just be an Opel, no.
So who is
Opel buying JCB.
But you know, the Ghanaian players, Nigerian players or more EPM. Now heard the population Nigeria cry. We be Abeka countries bear for a boom African and do Nigeria. Inti omo tension in now. The same thing applies to Ghanaian players in the Premier League. Inti enu ye key. And no can who be now Italian Serie A no. They know and on to nipa bebre nim call. Availability and the choices.
Okay. Me pese me di Akra. Na me kofa Newton Latin marriage atani Awa Mohammed so headlines. Na eba messages